Everything that surrounds us carries energy. Some energies uplift us, others drain us. Life is a constant exchange between what strengthens your mind and what weakens your spirit. The challenge is not in what exists outside of you, but in how aware you are of it. Today, I will share with you 7 signs, subtle but powerful, that can reveal the presence of witchcraft or negative influence in your life. These are not meant to create fear. Instead, they are here to guide you into awareness, to help you protect your mind, and to remind you that no force outside of you can dominate the strength that lies within. When you learn to recognize, you also learn to choose. And when you choose awareness over ignorance, you step onto the path of freedom. The first sign that witchcraft or negative influence may be affecting you is the sudden and unexplainable disturbance in your inner state of mind. Normally, when life flows in its natural rhythm, the human mind experiences moments of peace, moments of struggle, and moments of clarity. These rise and fall just like the tides of the ocean. But when there is an interference, when something external intrudes upon your natural balance, the mind begins to show signs that do not match your reality. You may begin to feel restless without cause. You may wake up with a heavy heart, even though nothing in your life has changed. There may be an unshakable sense of unease, as though something is watching you, as though something invisible is pressing on your chest. This is not the ordinary stress that arises from daily challenges. It is a weight that comes suddenly, without reason, and it lingers even when all conditions around you should allow for peace. When this type of disturbance arises, most people make the mistake of trying to rationalize it. They will say, perhaps it is just a bad day, perhaps I am simply tired. But then the days pass, the fatigue is gone, and still the inner heaviness remains. It is like carrying a stone in your mind, one that cannot be put down. This is one of the first signs that external energy has entered your field. Because when your mind is strong, it naturally returns to balance. When the influence of another force is present, that balance does not return so easily. Imagine for a moment a clear lake. The surface is still, reflecting the sky above. If you throw a stone into that lake, ripples spread in all directions. Normally, after a short while, the ripples disappear, and once again the water is calm. But imagine if those ripples never disappeared. If the surface of the lake kept moving and moving without stopping, even though no new stone was thrown in. This is what happens when an unnatural interference disturbs your mind. The ripples continue, your emotions do not settle, and your clarity is lost. One of the strongest indications of this influence is when your thoughts begin to turn against you. Suddenly, you may find yourself doubting your worth, questioning your abilities, or feeling as if a dark cloud has entered your mind. These thoughts are not born from your true self. They are like whispers from outside, convincing you of things that are not aligned with your nature. In many cultures, this has been described as the touch of witchcraft, the attempt to weaken your spirit by attacking your confidence. Because when the mind begins to believe the whispers, the spirit loses its strength. It is important to understand that human beings are sensitive to energy, just as you can sense when someone is angry without them speaking a word, or when someone is sincere simply by their presence. In the same way, you can sense when negative energy is directed toward you. The body feels it before the mind can explain it. You may feel unusual fatigue, heaviness in your chest, or pressure behind your eyes. Your sleep may be disturbed. You may wake in the night without knowing why, as if pulled from your rest by something unseen. These are not always signs of illness or random misfortune. Sometimes they are the indicators that you are being affected by forces that do not wish you well. There are people who underestimate this. They say, it is all imagination. But those who have experienced it know that the feeling is too strong, too persistent to be ignored. It is like a shadow that walks beside you even when the sun is bright. You sense it not with your eyes, but with your inner awareness. and that awareness is rarely wrong. To recognize this first sign requires honesty. You must ask yourself, is what I feel a reflection of my current reality? Or is it something that has appeared without reason? If it has no cause, if it continues to drain you day after day, then you must consider that something deeper is at work. Awareness is the first shield, because once you see that the disturbance is not yours, once you understand it has been placed upon you, then you can begin to separate yourself from it. The second sign that witchcraft or negative energy may be present in your life is the sudden and unexplained disruption of your environment. Life usually communicates with us through patterns. When your inner state is calm, your outer world often reflects that calmness in small ways. Your home feels welcoming, the air feels lighter, objects remain where they should be, and the flow of daily life moves with a certain natural rhythm. But when there is interference, this harmony begins to break down. You may notice that objects in your home fall without reason, lights flicker, or doors creak even when there is no wind. Perhaps you enter a room that always felt comfortable, yet now the atmosphere feels heavy and unwelcoming. This is not the ordinary aging of a house or the simple accidents of life. These changes carry with them a strange quality that makes you pause and sense something unseen. One of the most unsettling experiences people share is the sudden presence of shadows or shapes in their vision. You may think you see movement from the corner of your eye, yet when you turn, nothing is there. It can be a shadow that does not belong to any object, or a flicker of darkness in a well-lit room. These experiences are easy to dismiss at first, but when they repeat, when they continue to unsettle you, they indicate that something has entered your environment which does not belong there. Witchcraft often targets not only the mind of a person, but also the space in which they live, because the home is a reflection of one's inner temple. By disturbing the outer environment, the energy seeks to disturb the inner balance of its target. Animals are often the first to sense this disruption. A dog may bark at empty corners. A cat may stare intently at spaces where there is nothing visible to you, or birds may avoid landing near your window as they once did. Animals are not bound by the same rational explanations humans depend on. They feel energy directly. If you notice unusual or fearful behavior from the animals around you, it is a signal worth paying attention to. They may be reacting to something you cannot yet see. Another element of environmental disturbance comes in the form of repeated accidents or breakages. You may notice that objects you use daily suddenly stop working, electronics fail without explanation, glass shatters easily, or personal items go missing only to reappear in strange places. While one incident may be coincidence, the repetition of such occurrences begins to form a pattern. These patterns are a language of their own, a way in which the unseen world reveals its presence. Dreams also belong to this category of environmental signs, because the dream world is part of the space you inhabit when you sleep. If you suddenly begin experiencing disturbing dreams, visions of being chased, of shadows surrounding you, or of hearing voices that do not belong to your own mind, this too can be a reflection of interference. Dreams are not only random images of the brain, they are gateways into subtler realities. When witchcraft is directed at you, it often manifests first in your dreams before it shows its full impact in waking life. The body reacts strongly to these environmental changes as well. When you enter your home and feel a heaviness pressing upon you, when you step into a certain room and your head begins to ache, or when you try to rest but feel as though something is draining your energy from the very air around you. These are not coincidences. The body is the most honest sensor you have. It does not lie, and when something is wrong, it speaks to you through discomfort. Sometimes, even objects given to you by others can carry such energy. A gift that seems ordinary may bring unease into your space. You may find that after receiving such an item, your sleep becomes disturbed, arguments increase in the household, or small misfortunes multiply. In many traditions, this is understood as a common method of transferring negative influence into someone's environment. The object becomes a carrier of energy, and once inside your space, it begins to spread its influence. The most challenging aspect of environmental disturbance is that it often causes people to doubt themselves. They say, "Perhaps I am imagining these things. Perhaps it is only my stress." But when the disturbances continue, when the environment that once supported you begins to feel hostile, then it is important to recognize that this may not be coming from within you. By ignoring these signals, you allow the influence to grow stronger. By observing them with awareness, you begin to see the pattern clearly and understand that what is happening around you is not ordinary chance, but a sign that something deeper is unfolding. The third sign that witchcraft or negative influence may be touching your life is the sudden decline in your physical health without clear explanation. The human body is a remarkable vessel. It responds to food, to rest, to movement, and to the emotions you carry. Normally, when you care for your body, when you give it what it needs, it heals itself. Illness comes, and then it goes. Fatigue arises, and with sleep it disappears. But when external forces begin to interfere, the natural balance of the body is disturbed. You may find yourself feeling weak even when you have eaten well, rested well, and taken care of yourself. The energy seems to leak out of you, as if there is a hole in your being through which your vitality escapes. This is not the ordinary tiredness after a long day of work. It is the kind of exhaustion that greets you in the morning, even before the day has begun. It is the kind of pain that does not fit with the medical explanations you are given. You may visit doctors, and they tell you nothing is wrong. You may change your diet, your habits, your routines, yet the heaviness of the body remains. When witchcraft is directed toward you, one of its aims is to weaken the physical form, because when the body is weakened, the mind becomes more vulnerable, and the spirit loses its sharpness. The signs of such weakening can take many forms. Some people experience sudden headaches that come and go without reason. Others feel sharp pains in different parts of the body, pains that shift from place to place, never consistent and never explained. Some may feel pressure in the chest, difficulty breathing, or a sensation of weight pressing down on their shoulders. These are not always the signs of medical illness, though they can mimic them. They are often the way the body signals that it is under attack from forces beyond the physical. You may also notice changes in your appetite. Food that once nourished you suddenly loses its taste. You eat, but you do not feel satisfied. Or you lose your hunger completely, as if your body no longer craves the sustenance it needs. Sleep, too, becomes unsettled. You may fall asleep quickly, but wake repeatedly through the night. You may have vivid dreams that leave you more tired than when you went to bed. You may even experience the sensation of being watched as you sleep, or the feeling of pressure on your body as if something is holding you down. These are experiences people all over the world have described when they believe themselves to be under the influence of witchcraft. What makes this sign distinct is that the body does not lie. The mind can create illusions, the emotions can rise and fall with external events, but the body responds only to what it experiences. If it feels drained, if it loses its balance, it is because something has touched it. In many traditions, the human body is understood as an energy field, not just flesh and bone. When a negative force intrudes into that field, the body reacts immediately. It shows weakness, not because the person is weak, but because their energy is being interfered with. This is why you may find that no matter how much you rest, the rest does not restore you. You may drink water, eat nourishing food, and still feel as though something inside is being depleted. It is like trying to fill a vessel that has a crack at the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, the substance leaks out. When people describe this type of exhaustion, They often say it feels like their life force itself is being drained. And in truth, that is exactly what witchcraft seeks to do, to take away vitality, to weaken the shield of energy that protects a person. It is also worth noting that the sudden appearance of repetitive illnesses can be another sign. You may catch colds more frequently than before. Small injuries may heal more slowly than they once did. Skin irritations, fevers, or other recurring health problems may arise without clear cause. These patterns of weakness are not random. They are signs that the body is under a pressure it cannot identify, a pressure that may not be of this world. There are even times when medical tests show nothing unusual, yet the suffering is real. This paradox leaves many people confused. They begin to believe that perhaps it is all in their mind, but those who understand the deeper layers of existence know that the body can be attacked in ways that science cannot measure. The unseen can shape the seen. The energy around you can change the chemistry within you. And when that energy is hostile, when it carries the intention of harm, the first place it leaves its mark is on your physical state. The fourth sign that witchcraft or negative influence may be affecting your life is the sudden and unexplained collapse of harmony in your relationships. Human beings are naturally drawn together by invisible threads of trust, affection, and shared understanding. These threads can be delicate, but when nurtured with care, they create stability and warmth in families, friendships, and partnerships. Yet when an external force interferes, these threads begin to fray in ways that cannot be easily explained. People who once understood you suddenly misunderstand your words. Small disagreements that should resolve themselves instead turn into larger conflicts. The atmosphere between loved ones grows tense, and conversations that once flowed freely begin to feel forced and heavy. You may notice that people close to you begin to act differently. They may avoid your presence without clear reason, or they may grow irritated with you, even when you have done nothing to provoke such feelings. This is one of the oldest signs that negative energy has entered into the space of your relationships. Witchcraft, at its core, often aims to create division, because once a person is isolated from their sources of support, they become easier to weaken. A person with strong relationships is like a tree with deep roots. It cannot be easily moved. But when those roots are attacked, the tree becomes unstable. Arguments begin to appear in the household without real cause. A partner may suddenly doubt your intentions, a friend may distance themselves, or family members may harbor resentment for things that were never an issue before. The strange part is that when you look back, you realize these conflicts have no true foundation. They appeared out of nowhere, as if planted into the minds of those around you. This is because negative influence works not only on the individual, but on the energy field that connects people. If a seed of misunderstanding is placed in that field, it begins to grow and create tension between hearts. One of the clearest indicators of this is when communication itself begins to break down. Words are misunderstood, messages are lost, or what you say is received in the exact opposite way you intended. It feels as though an invisible barrier stands between you and the person you care for, distorting everything that passes through. This does not happen occasionally, but repeatedly, and it leaves you wondering why everything suddenly feels so strained. Another form of this disturbance is the sudden appearance of envy, jealousy, or suspicion. A friend who once celebrated your achievements now grows distant or critical. A family member who once supported you now seems cold. You may even feel a strange pressure when you are around others, as if their energy is pushing against yours. Witchcraft is often designed to plant seeds of division because division weakens. It takes what was united and makes it fragile. It takes love and turns it into doubt. These changes are not only external, you may also feel them within yourself. Suddenly, you may find irritation rising in you without reason. You may lose patience with those you love most. You may feel mistrust even when no evidence supports it. This is another way negative forces work, by planting emotions that are not truly yours. They enter your energy field and make you feel what does not belong to you. The purpose is always the same: to disconnect you from the strength of your relationships. Over time, this influence can make you feel increasingly alone. Even when surrounded by people, you may sense a gap between you and them. You may feel as though no one understands you, or worse, that no one wishes to be near you. This isolation is not accidental. It is part of the strategy of any external energy that seeks to weaken your spirit. A person who feels isolated begins to doubt themselves. A person who doubts themselves becomes easier to control. There are also moments when the relationships themselves do not change, but the way you perceive them does. You may suddenly begin to feel suspicious of those closest to you, believing they are hiding something, even when no evidence exists. Or you may begin to feel unworthy of their love, withdrawing from them because of thoughts that were never yours to begin with. The danger lies not in the people around you, but in the invisible influence that shifts your perception. The collapse of harmony in relationships is one of the most painful signs of negative influence, because it strikes at the core of human connection. People can endure hardship more easily when they feel supported, but when that support is disrupted, even small struggles feel heavy. Witchcraft often targets this exact vulnerability, knowing that once a person feels alone, their resilience is greatly reduced. The conflicts, the misunderstandings, the sudden coldness, these are signals that what you are experiencing may not be natural, but instead the mark of a deeper interference. Every sign we have explored is not meant to create fear, but to open the eyes. Witchcraft, negative energy, unseen forces, these are not greater than the strength that already lives within you. The true danger lies not in their existence, but in our lack of awareness toward them. When we cannot recognize, we cannot respond. But once awareness is present, the power begins to return to you. Life will always carry challenges, both seen and unseen. Yet you are not powerless. The mind is a fortress, the body a temple, and the spirit a flame. When you learn to guard them with clarity, with discipline, and with courage, no external force can truly dominate you. What seems dark loses its strength when brought into the light of consciousness. So take these signs not as a burden, but as guidance. Let them remind you to listen more deeply to yourself, to watch more carefully what happens around you, and to nurture the relationships and energy that keep you strong. Awareness is the first step, protection is the second, and the third is the unshakable understanding that nothing outside of you can extinguish the strength that resides within you.